Midlands. And all the music you love. BBC Radio WM.
Oh, I'm looking forward to playing Calvin Harris and Tom Grennan's By Your Side. That is such a tune for the sunshine. We'll do that in a bit. We've also got tunes from Sixpence None the Richer and Diana Ross to play for you before 11:30 as well. Now, let me ask you, are you acting? And this is not a question coming from me to make you feel judged, but I just want to know, how much do you think about air pollution on a day-to-day basis? How much are you thinking about the environment? I'll be honest with you, I drive to work every day and I don't really, because I do it just on autopilot. I'm just in my car, I'm going to work, I'm focusing on what I'm doing. I don't think about what happens after that and what those car emissions leave behind. Have you had a moan about the clean air zone in Birmingham? We've been talking a lot about that, haven't we, on the show since that launched back in, was it 2021, the clean air zone? Maybe you'll feel differently if you head along to this great exhibition that we're going to talk about right now. It's different, it's unusual, it's a big art installation. It's come to the MAC in Birmingham on the 14th of September. PollutionPods consists of 5 interconnected domes that you can walk through that imitate polluted environments in cities around the world. I had a great chat yesterday with the man behind the project, artist Michael Pinsky, who told me all about it. Let's have a see if we can find that for you. Hang on a moment. Here it is. Take a listen.
So the pollution pods are a series of 5 domes which you can walk through and experience the pollution from different cities in the world. And I thought of this idea because I make a lot of work that deals with issues around climate change.
Right.
And some of the work that I did before this project, I think, seemed a little bit removed from people's lives. So, for example, I marked monuments in London with where the sea level will be in 1,000 years' time, because a lot of London will be submerged. And though that's thought-provoking, I think people, especially a few years ago, really didn't feel the immediate impacts of climate change. So I started to think about, well, how can we engage people with this? And one way I thought was through air pollution, because even though air pollution doesn't cause climate change, the causes of air pollution and the causes of climate change overlap enormously. And air pollution certainly does affect people on a daily basis, especially in cities like Birmingham.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've only been driving up the M6 this morning and, you see the signs, speed control due for air quality. We've got the clean air zone in Birmingham. Obviously, we know we're the second city. We're a very large city. We know that, they brought that in to try and help things. But you are right, day to day, are people really thinking about how air pollution affects people and affects the community? What are you hoping people will take from this experience at the MAC?
Well, I mean, I think when air pollution is bad, people do think about it. It does go up and down a lot, and there's certainly mornings or afternoons when you go out and you really, really feel the impacts of air pollution. But it is true that people just habituate to very poor quality air, so they just adjust to it. And it's really when you come from the countryside or somewhere with really clean air and then go into the city, you're really shocked by the difference. And that is the experience I want people to have in the pollution pods, because you move from a very clear, clean dome like the one for Norway into something much more polluted. And you get that kind of shock of moving through these different environments that you might not get when pollution just rises very gradually, which it has done over several decades, mostly because of car transportation.
Of course. I'm reading here, you've never owned a car, is that right?
No.
Wow.
And I do have a family.
Oh my God. And that's a choice?
Yes, it is. I mean, I do drive. I can drive cars and I do hire them, but I hate what cars have done to society in general. And that's not just the pollution, it's not just the massive carbon footprint that you have just making a car, but what it does in terms of people's loneliness and separating people from each other. You know, if you just leave your house and get in a car and drive, you don't meet your neighbours, you don't know your neighbourhood, you don't have those interactions on the street. And kids don't play on the street anymore, and they used to 50 years ago. You know, everything has really changed. This orientation around the car isn't as bad in Britain as it is in America, for example. But Birmingham was certainly originally, designed in the 50s and 60s very much around the car. And now, you know, the council is trying to unpick all of that kind of damage that has been done because of that.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a really eye-opening experience. I really am interested to see what it feels like to walk through the different pods, because you've just mentioned Norway. What are the other cities that you've involved in these pods?
So I've got the first pod being Norway, because that's where I first kind of imagined this piece and built it. And then you go to London, and then through to New Delhi, which really has by far the worst air pollution in the world.
Really?
I mean, it's absolutely horrific. And then you move to Beijing, which is getting slowly better over the years, but it's still quite bad. And then finally Sao Paulo, which is no worse than London, but it's got a very different quality to the air pollution. So I kind of think of the domes as a kind of like a wine tasting experience, but with pollution. You know, it's not just that the pollution gets better and worse, but the nature of the pollution changes in each of the domes.
Wow. It sounds so fascinating, Michael. And I know you've taken this all over the world. I'm so thrilled that this is coming to Birmingham, because I know you used to teach in Birmingham as well. So we obviously hold a fond place in your heart.
Yeah, back when I taught, it was still that inner ring road, you know, that you had people walking through the underpasses, and it was really, really grim. And I've got to say, like, I visited Birmingham just a year or two ago, and it has completely transformed. It's so much more pleasant than it used to be 20 years ago.
Oh, for sure.
In the centre,
It's and since the games last year, it's looking nice. It's looking nice, but of course we want the air pollution, to stay away, and you know, things like the clean air zone. I guess this is all to help with that. And if people want to sort of come and see and experience these pollution pods, Michael, where can they go to? How much is it?
I think it's, I'm not quite sure. I think it's about £2.
Oh, hang on, I've got it down here. Let me have a look.
Yeah, hang on, you know more than me.
Let me have a look. Oh, here we go. Booking required, £2, under 12s go free. So there you go. Nice experience, something different, something you're going to learn from. And it's only £2, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, £2 for a very unpleasant experience.
You're not selling this, Michael. But no, in all seriousness, it's the message, isn't it? And it's also something that's going to make you sit up and go, wow, I had no idea, you know, that this is how bad air pollution can get. And you'll really feel the difference and see the difference as you move between the pods. This is happening at the Mac in Birmingham from Thursday, the 14th of September. Is it there just for the day, Michael?
No, it's up for over 2 weeks.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So there's you don't need to run and see it on the Thursday. You can certainly go on the weekends if that is an easier time for you to make it. It's just outside Eggbaston Cricket Ground.
That's it. Yeah.
So it's quite accessible to get to. And maybe think about taking public transport or walking there rather than driving. I
was about to say, you're not going to, if you take your car, I'm going to guess that as soon as you go through the pod, you're definitely not going to want to use your car to go home, are you? It's going to make you think.
Yeah, well, just remember that the pollution impacts you more in a car than when you're walking and cycling. I mean, people often think that being in the car isolates them from the pollution. But actually, it's worse for the people in the cars than it is for the people on the street.
I didn't know that. You learned something new. Michael, I think it's great. And I really, commend you for doing something so groundbreaking and really getting people thinking about the way they use their cars, air pollution. This is fantastic. It's Pollution Pods. It's happening at the Mac in Birmingham. Michael Pinsky, thank you so much, my love.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, really nice to hear from Michael Pinsky there about those awesome pollution pods. It makes you think, doesn't it? I don't fancy going through that pod. Where was it? New Delhi, he said, that was really high pollution. But it's going to make you think, innit? Right, let's get some more great music on the way from Calvin Harris and Tom Grennan after Sixpence None the Richer. This is great. It's Kiss Me on BBC Radio WM.
Kiss